I think any fair-minded person would recognize that we face security problems and challenges unlike any other nation on earth. And therefore, a peace agreement with the Palestinians must have effective security arrangements on the ground, not just on a piece of paper, on the ground. We must make sure that what happened in Lebanon and Gaza doesn't happen again in the West Bank. Now let me explain what our main security problem with Lebanon is. It's not Israel's border with Lebanon. It's Lebanon's porous border with Syria, through which Iran and Syria smuggle thousands and thousands of rockets and missiles to Hezbollah. And our main security problem with Gaza is not Israel's border with Gaza. It's Gaza's border with Egypt, under which there are about 1,000 tunnels dug through which Hamas smuggles weapons to fire at us. My friends, experience has shown that only an Israeli presence on the ground can prevent or limit weapon smuggling. And this is why a peace agreement with the Palestinians must include an Israeli presence in the eastern border of a future Palestinian state. If peace with the Palestinians proves its durability over time, we can review security arrangements. We are prepared to take risk for peace, but we will not be reckless with the lives of our citizens and the life of the one and only Jewish state. Ladies and gentlemen, the people of Israel want a future in which our children no longer experience the horrors of war. We want a future in which Israel realizes its full, great potential as a global center of technology, anchored in its values, living at peace with all its neighbors. I envision an Israel that can dedicate even more of its scientific and creative energies to help solve some of the great problems of our time, foremost of which is finding a clean and affordable substitute for gasoline. And when we find that alternative, we will stop transferring hundreds of billions of dollars to regimes which support terror worldwide. I am confident that in pursuing these goals, we have the enduring friendship of the United States of America, the greatest nation on earth. The American people have always shown their courage, their generosity, their decency. From one president to the next, from one Congress to the next, America's commitment to Israel's security has been unwavering. In the last year, President Obama and the U.S. Congress have given meaning to that commitment by providing Israel with military assistance, by enabling joint military exercise, and by working on joint missile defense. So too has Israel been a staunch and steadfast ally of the United States. As Vice President Biden has said, America has no better friend in the community of nations than Israel. I say that too. For decades, Israel served as a bulwark against Soviet expansionism, Today, it is helping America stem the tide of militant Islam. Israel shares with America everything, and I mean everything, that we know about fighting a new kind of enemy. We share intelligence. We cooperate in so many ways, countless ways, which I'm not at liberty to divulge. This cooperation is important for us, for Israel, but it is also helping save American lives. Our soldiers and your soldiers fight against fanatic enemies that loathe our common values. In the eyes of these fanatics, we are you and you are us. To them, the only difference is that you are big and we are small. You see, you are the great Satan and we are the small Satan. Now, there's an important point here. This fanaticism's hatred of Western civilization predates the establishment of modern Israel by 1,000 years. Militant Islam does not hate the West because of Israel. It hates Israel because of the West, because it sees Israel as an outpost of freedom and democracy that prevents them from overrunning the Middle East. That is why when Israel stands against its enemies, it stands against America's enemies. President Truman, the first leader to recognize Israel, had this to say: I have faith in Israel, and I believe it has a glorious future, not just as another sovereign nation, but as an embodiment of the great ideals of our civilization. My friends, we are gathered here today because we believe in these common ideals of our great civilization. And because of these ideals, I'm certain that Israel and America will always stand together. Thank you. Thank you.